When I was young, my family lived overseas. I lived in Indonesia for a few years. And my mother, she didn't have the money to send me where all the American kids went to school, but she thought it was important for me to keep up with American education, so she decided to take me extra lessons herself, Monday through Friday. But because she had to go to work, the only time she could do it was at 4:30 in the morning. But whenever I complained, my mother would just give me one of those looks and she'd say, "This is no picnic for me, either professor." So I know that some of you are still adjusting to be back at school, but I'm here today because I have something important to discuss with you. My father left my family when I was 2 years old, and I was raised by a single mom who had to work and who struggled at times to pay the bills and wasn't always able to give us the things that other kids had. There were times when I missed having a family, having a father in my life. There were times when I was lonely and I felt like I didn't fit in. So I was always as focused as I should have been on school. And I did some things and I'm not proud of and I got in more trouble than I should have. And my life could have easily taken a turn for the worst. But I was lucky. I got a lot of second chances and I had opportunity to go to college and law school and follow my dreams. But was our first lady, Michael Obama. She says a similar story. Neither of her parents had gone to college, and they didn't have a lot of money, but they worked hard so she could go to the best schools in this country. Some, but some of you may not have those advantages. Maybe you don't have adults in your life who give you the support that you need. Maybe someone in your family has lost this job and there's not enough money to roll around. Maybe you live in a neighborhood where you don't feel safe or have friends who are pressuring you to do things and you know aren't right. Maybe you could be a great writer, maybe even good enough to write a book, articles in a newspaper, but you might not know it until you write that English class paper that's assigned to you. Maybe you could be an innovator or an interviewer, maybe even good enough to come up with the next iPhone or the new medicine or vaccines, but you may not know it until you do your road test for your science class. Maybe you could be a major or senator or Supreme Court justice, but you might not know that until you join student government or the debate team, or no matter what you want to do with your no matter you want to do with your life, I guarantee that you need an education to do it. You want to be a doctor or a teacher or a police officer. You want to be a nurse or an architect, a lawyer or a member of military. You going need to a good education for every single one of those careers. You cannot drop out of school and just fall into a good job. You have to train for it and work for it and learn for it. And this isn't just important for your own life and your own future. What you make of your education will decide nothing less than the future of this country. The future of America depends on you. What you learn in schools today will determine whether we, as a nation, can meet our greatest challenges in the future. You need the knowledge and problem-solving skills you learn in science and math to cure diseases like cancer or AIDS, and to develop new energy technologies and protect our environment. You need the insights and critical thinking skills you gain in history and social science to fight poverty or homelessness, crime and discrimination, and make our nation more fair and more free. You need the creativity and unity you develop in all your classes to build new companies. They create new jobs and boost our economy. We need every single of you to develop your talents and your skills and your intellect, so you can help us out for solve our most difficult problems. If you don't do that, if you quit on school, you're not just quitting, you are quitting on your country. Now, I know it's not always easy to do well in school. I know a lot of how you have challenges in your life right now that can make it hard to focus on your schoolwork. I get it. I get it. I know what it's like. But at the end of the day, the circumstances of your life, what you look like, where you come from, how much money you have, what you got going on at home. None of that is an excuse for neglecting your homework or having a bad attitude in school. There's no excuse for taking back to your teacher or cutting class or dropping up out of school. There is no excuse for not trying. Where are you right now doesn't have to determine where you end up. No one's writing your destiny for you. Because here in America, you can drive your own destiny. You make your own future. That's what young people like you are doing every day on across America. That's why today I'm calling on you to set your own goals for your education and do everything you can to do that. Your goal can be something as simple as doing all your homework, pay attention in class, or spending some time each day reading a book. Maybe you decide to get involved in an extracurricular activity or volunteer in your community. Maybe you will decide to stand up for kids who being teased or built because who they are or how they look, because you believe, like I do, that all young people deserve a safe environment to study and learn. Maybe you decide to take better care of yourself so you can be more ready to learn. But whatever you resolve to do, I want to do I want to I want you to commit to it. I want you to really work at it. But I know sometimes you get that sense from TV that you can be rich and successful without any hard. That your ticket to success is through grabbing or sparking small or being reality TV star. Chance chance that you're not going to be any of those things. The truth is, being successful is hard. You won't love every subject that you study. You won't click with every teacher that you have. Not every homework assignment will seem completely relevant to your life right at this minute. And you won't necessarily succeed at everything the first time you try. That's okay. Some of the most successful people in the world are the ones who had the most failures. J.K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter. Her first Harry Potter books were rejected 12 times before it was finally published. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. He lost hundreds of games and missed thousands of starts during his career. But he once said, I have failed over and over and over again in my life, and that's why I succeed. The people succeeded because they understood that you can't let your failures define you. You have to let your failures teach you. You have to let them show you what to do differently the next time. So if you get into trouble, that means you're a troublemaker. It means you need to try harder to act right. If you get a bad grade, that doesn't show you're stupid. It just means you need to spend more time studying. No one's born being good at all things. You become good at things through hard work. You're not a varsity athlete the first time you play a new sport. You don't hit Arizona the first time you sing a song. You got a practice. The same principle applies to your schoolwork. You might have to do a math problem a few times before you get it right. You might have to read something a few times before you understand it. You definitely have to do a few drafts of a paper before it's good enough to hand in. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. I do that every day. Asking for help isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. Because it shows you to admit when you don't know something. And that then allows you to learn something new. So find an adult that you trust, a parent, a grandparent, or a teacher, a coach, or a counselor, to ask them to help you stay on track to meet your goals. And even when you struggle, even when you're discouraged, and feel like other people haven't given up on you, don't ever give up on yourself. Because when you give up on yourself, you give up on your country. The story of America isn't about people who quit when things got tough. It's about people who kept growing, who try harder, who love their country too much to do anything less than their best. A story of students who sat where you sit 250 years ago and went on to lead a revolution, and they founded this nation. Young people, students who sat where you sit 75 years old, who overcame the depression and World War II, who fought the civil rights and put a man on the moon. Students who sat where you sit 20 years ago, who founded Google and Twitter and Facebook, and changed the way we communicate with each other. So today I want to ask all of you, what's your contribution going to be? What problems are you going to solve? What discoveries will you make? What will a president who comes here in 20 or 50 or 100 years say if for this country? Now your families, your teachers, and I are doing everything can to make sure you have the education you need to answer the questions. I'm working hard to fix up your classrooms and get you the books and the equipment and the computers you need to learn, but you got to do your part too. So I expect all of you to get serious this year. I expect you to put your special effort into everything you do. I expect great things from each of you. So don't let them down. Don't let your family down and your country down. Or most of all, don't let yourself down. Mắt cái son vào